Pursuant to the 20th Amendment of the Constitution, the chair declares the second session of the 118th Congress adjourned sine die.
Pursuant to the 20th Amendment to the Constitution of the United States, for the meeting of the 119th Congress of the United States, the House will come to order. The prayer will be offered by Chaplain Kibben.
Would you pray with me? Gather us together, sovereign God, from the north and south, from the east and west, from the right and the left, and in your mercy, consecrate the work you have called us to do in this 119th Congress. As we convene to establish and uphold the laws of this nation, may we devote our hearts anew to you and stretch out our hands to receive your instruction. With our spirits oriented toward you, may we be willing to put away all selfish motives, any rancorous thought that may harbor within us, and the sin that we too often cling to, and allow no evil or wickedness to gain a foothold in or penetrate this tent of governance. On this day and the days and months and years ahead, may we be found to be free of fault and true of faith and allegiance when we lift up our faces to you. May we, without fear or reservation nor purpose of evasion, stand blameless before you and the people we serve. We ask this and pray your blessing on this Congress and on these United States. In the strength of your divine name we pray. Amen.
The representatives-elect and their guests will please remain standing and join in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As directed by law, the Clerk of the House has prepared the official roll of the representatives-elect. Certificates of election covering 435 seats in the 119th Congress have been received by the Clerk of the House. The names of those persons whose credentials show that they were regularly elected as representatives in accord with the laws of their respective states or of the United States will be called. The representatives-elect will record their presence by electronic device, and their names will be reported in alphabetical order by state, beginning with the state of Alabama, to determine whether a quorum is present. Representatives-elect will have a minimum of 15 minutes to record their presence by electronic device. Representatives-elect who have not obtained their voting card may do so now in the Speaker's lobby. Are there additional representatives-elect in the chamber who wish to record their presence? If not, all time has expired. 433 representatives-elect have recorded their presence. A quorum is present. Credentials, regular and form, have been received showing the election of the Honorable Pablo Jose Hernandez Rivera as Resident Commissioner from the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico for a term of 4 years beginning January 3rd, 2025. The Honorable Eleanor Holmes Norton as Delegate from the District of Columbia. The Honorable James C. Moylan as Delegate from Guam. The Honorable Stacy E. Plaskett as Delegate from the Virgin Islands. The Honorable Amua Amada Coleman Radawagan as Delegate from American Samoa. And the Honorable Kimberlyn King Hines as Delegate from the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands. The clerk is in receipt of a letter from the Honorable Matt Gaetz of the state of Florida, indicating that he will not serve in the House in the 119th Congress. Without objection, the letters relating to his resignation will be printed in the record. Pursuant to law and precedent, the next order of business is the election of the Speaker of the House of Representatives for the 119th Congress. Nominations are now in order. The clerk recognizes the gentlewoman from Michigan, Mrs. McLean.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk, and thank you, colleagues. Mr. Clerk, as the chair of the Republican Conference, I am directed by the vote of that conference to present for election to the office of the Speaker of the House of Representatives for the 119th Congress the name of the Honorable Mike Johnson, a representative from the state of Louisiana. Welcome, everybody. I am optimistic about our future. On November 5th, the American people gave us a great opportunity to get America back on the right track. They gave us an opportunity to get back to normal and to get back to the real issues that the country faces right now. People want the opportunity to take care of their families. They simply want to provide for their children and give them a prosperous future. And ladies and gentlemen, we have the opportunity today to do just that. We have an opportunity to take our country back. With Speaker Mike Johnson, Senate Majority Leader John Thune, and President Donald J. Trump in charge, we have the opportunity to put America first again. We have an opportunity to do something about crime. We have an opportunity to do something about the border. And we have an opportunity to take care of our veterans. We and every single member in this chamber and those of you watching at home and on TV should be looking forward, knowing that America will be respected again. Our country is the last bastion of hope. If we fail, then who? This is why we are focused on the issues that the majority of Americans care about: God, family, country, faith, freedom, and traditional American values. And we should be making it easier for people to achieve the American dream. Over 14 months ago, Mike Johnson took on a daunting task. No speaker is perfect, and no one will ever be. However, achieving perfection requires incremental gains and hard decisions along the way. None of us will get exactly what we want. The fundamental collective goal of this body is to make progress for the American people in which we represent. And we have done just that under Mike's leadership. We should be celebrating and building upon his efforts, our efforts. Mike has remained the same kind and caring person as he was before he assumed this role. He's an honest broker. He shows you his true beliefs at face value. He is steadfast in his values of faith, family, and love of this country. He knows our brightest days are still ahead of us, and I do too. I am hopeful for the next Congress. I am optimistic that we will focus on those issues that people truly care about. I know Mike will be an integral part of this country's comeback. He will lead us through another successful Republican majority. As chairwoman of the Unified House Republican Conference, I can say proudly that we are ready to govern. It is my honor to present our conference's nominee for the Speaker of the People's House, the Honorable Mike Johnson from the state of Louisiana. Do I move?
The clerk now recognizes the gentleman from California, Mr. Aguilar.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Thank you, Mr. Clerk. I've had a little bit of practice, and clearly my colleagues took notice. I rise to place a name in nomination, but first, I want to acknowledge my colleague from Michigan for her heartfelt and personal nominating speech. As someone who's given a few of these, I can say you served your conference well, Representative McLean. But Mr. Clerk, today I rise on behalf of the governing majority of the House of Representatives. The American people have sent a strong message that they want their elected leaders working together to tackle the affordability crisis. There is only one leader in this chamber with a track record of compromise, conviction, and compassion. There is only one leader who understands the needs of the working people and has lived the American dream himself and is committed to ensuring its promise for future generations. There is only one leader who knows how to negotiate a bipartisan deal and then stick to that deal. House Democrats are united behind the most powerful legislative leader in this chamber, Hakeem Jeffries of Brooklyn. House Democrats, under the leadership of Hakeem Jeffries, are committed to bipartisanship and common sense solutions to America's most pressing challenges. In the face of chaos and dysfunction over the last 2 years, our caucus has kept the government funded, kept our allies protected, and the economy secured from the catastrophic default. In the 119th Congress, we will work with the incoming administration to make life better, safer, and more affordable for working families. And the incoming administration must also recognize that while my colleagues on the other side of the aisle are divided, and while compromise remains a dirty word for so many, Congress won't be able to keep the lights on, let alone pass anything of substance, without the buy-in and blessing of House Democrats and Hakeem Jeffries. Make no mistake, Democrats want to bring down the cost of living, build more housing, and lower the cost of everyday items like food, medicine, and childcare. Even as the extreme rhetoric rises in this chamber and in the public square, we will not stop advocating for the policies that do the most good for the most people. Because of Hakeem's leadership, we will never abandon our values or sacrifice our bedrock principles of freedom and democracy. When America's enemies abroad threatened our democratic ally, Ukraine, when terrorists attacked our strongest ally, Israel, it was Hakeem Jeffries and House Democrats who delivered the votes and stood tall for America's national security. When the least, the lost, and the left behind were threatened with devastating cuts, Hakeem Jeffries stood with America's mothers, children, and veterans. When the incoming administration wanted to raise the debt limit by trillions of dollars in order to finance tax cuts for the wealthy, the well-off, and the well-connected, leaving middle-class families to pay for the bill and leaving them high and dry, Hakeem Jeffries didn't just say no, he said, that's why there is only one true candidate today for Speaker. So, Mr. Clerk, I am honored to rise today at the direction of the House Democratic Caucus to place into nomination for election to the position of Speaker of the House of Representatives, the pride of Brooklyn, the gentleman from New York, Hakeem Jeffries.
The names of the Honorable Mike Johnson, a representative-elect from the state of Louisiana, and the Honorable Hakeem Jeffries, a representative-elect from the state of New York, have been placed in nomination. Are there further nominations? There being no further nominations, the clerk appoints the following tellers. The gentlewoman from North Carolina, Ms. Fox. The gentleman from New York, Mr. Morelli. The gentleman from Wisconsin, Mr. Stile. And the gentlewoman from California, Mrs. Torres. The tellers will come forward and take their seats at the desk in front of the Speaker's rostrum. The roll now will be called, and those responding to their names will indicate by surname the nominee of their choosing. The reading clerk will now call the roll.
Adams. Jeffries. Adderholt. Johnson. Aguilar. Jeffries. Alford. Johnson. Allen. Johnson. Amo. Jeffries. Amode of Nevada. Johnson. Ansari. Jeffries. Arrington. Johnson. Auchincloss. Jeffries. Babin. Johnson. Bacon. Johnson. Baird. Johnson. Balderson. Johnson. Ballant. Jeffries. Barr. Johnson. Bedagan. Jeffries. Barrett. Barrett. Baumgartner. Barrett Johnson. Barrett Johnson. Baumgartner. Johnson. Bean of Florida. Johnson. Beatty. Jeffries. Begich. Johnson. Bell. Jeffries. Bentz. Johnson. Barra. Jeffries. Bergman. Johnson. Beyer. Jeffries. Bice. Johnson. Biggs of Arizona. Biggs of Arizona. Biggs of South Carolina. Johnson. Bilirakis. Johnson. Bishop. Jeffries. Bobert. Johnson. Bonamici. Jeffries. Bost. Johnson. Boyle of Pennsylvania. Jeffries. Brikeen. Johnson. Bresnahan. Johnson. Brown. Jeffries. Brownlee. Jeffries. Buchanan. Johnson. Budzinski. Jeffries. Burchett. Johnson. Burleson. Johnson. Bynum. Jeffries. Calvert. Johnson. Kamick. Johnson. Carbajal. Jeffries. Carey. Johnson. Carson. Carson. Carter of Georgia.
Mike Johnson.
Johnson. Carter of Louisiana. Jeffries. Carter of Texas. Johnson. Kassar. Jeffries. Case. Jeffries. Caston. Jeffries. Castor of Florida. Jeffries. Castro of Texas. Jeffries. Shifferlis McCormick. Jeffries. Chu. Jeffries. Siscomani. Johnson. Cisneros. Jeffries. Clark of Massachusetts. Jeffries. Clark of New York. Jeffries. Cleaver. Jeffries. Klein. Johnson. Cloud. Cloud. Clyburn. Jeffries. Clyde. Clyde. Cohen. Jeffries. Cole. Johnson. Collins. Johnson. Comer. Johnson. Conaway. Jeffries. Connolly. Jeffries. Correa. Jeffries. Costa. Jeffries. Courtney. Jeffries. Craig. Jeffries. Crane. Johnson. Crank. Johnson. Crawford. Johnson. Crenshaw. Johnson. Crockett. Jeffries. Crow. Jeffries. Cuellar. Jeffries. Davids of Kansas. Jeffries. Davidson. Johnson. Davis of Illinois. Jeffries. Davis of North Carolina. Jeffries. Dean of Pennsylvania. Jeffries. DeGette. Jeffries. De la Cruz. Johnson. DeLauro. Jeffries. Del Bene. Jeffries. DeLuzio. Jeffries. DeSaulnier. Jeffries. Desjardins. Johnson. Dexter. Jeffries. Diaz-Balart. Johnson. Dingle. Jeffries. Doggett. Jeffries. Donalds. Johnson. Downing. Johnson. Dunn of Florida. Johnson. Edwards. Johnson. Elfreth. Jeffries. Elzie. Johnson. Emmer. Johnson. Escobar. Jeffries. Espaillat. Jeffries. Estes. Johnson. Evans of Colorado. Johnson. Evans of Pennsylvania. Jeffries. Ezell. Johnson. Fallon. Johnson. Fedorchak. Johnson. Feenstra. Johnson. Fields. Jeffries. Figures. Jeffries. Finstad. Johnson. Fishbach. Johnson. Fitzgerald. Johnson. Fitzpatrick. Johnson. Fleischman. Johnson. Fletcher. Jeffries. Flood. Johnson. Fung. Johnson. Foster. Jeffries. Fushi. Jeffries. Fox. Johnson. Lois Frankel. Jeffries. Scott Franklin. Johnson. Friedman. Jeffries. Frost. Jeffries. Fry. Johnson. Fulcher. Johnson. Garamendi. Jeffries. Garbarino. Johnson. Garcia of California. Jeffries. Garcia of Illinois. Jeffries. Garcia of Texas. Jeffries. Gill of Texas. Johnson. Gillen. Jeffries. Jimenez. Johnson. Golden of Maine. Jeffries. Goldman of New York. Jeffries. Goldman of Texas. Johnson. Gomez. Jeffries. Tony Gonzalez. Johnson. Vicente Gonzalez. Jeffries. Gooden. Johnson. Goodlander. Jeffries. Gosar. Gosar. Gottheimer. Jeffries. Graves. Johnson. Gray. Jeffries. Green of Tennessee. Johnson. Green of Texas.
The gentleman may respond by surname.
Green of Texas, Jeffries. Green of Georgia, Johnson. Griffith, Johnson. Grijalva, Jeffries. Grothman, Johnson. Guest, Johnson. Guthrie, Johnson. Hageman, Johnson. Hamadeh of Arizona, Johnson. Harder of California, Jeffries. Herodopoulos, Johnson. Harrigan, Johnson. Harris of Maryland. Harris of Maryland. Harris of North Carolina, Johnson. Harshbarger, Johnson. Hayes, Jeffries. Hearn of Oklahoma, Johnson. Higgins of Louisiana, Johnson. Hill of Arkansas, Johnson. Himes, Jeffries. Henson, Johnson. Horsford, Jeffries. Houchin, Johnson. Houlihan, Jeffries. Hoyer, Jeffries. Hoyle of Oregon, Jeffries. Hudson, Johnson. Huffman, Jeffries. Huizinga, Johnson. Hunt, Johnson. Hurd of Colorado, Johnson. Isa, Johnson. Ivy, Jeffries. Jack, Johnson. Jackson of Illinois, Jeffries. Jackson of Texas, Johnson. Jacobs, Jeffries. James, Johnson. Jayapal, Jeffries. Jeffries, Jeffries. Johnson of Georgia, Jeffries. Johnson of Louisiana, Johnson. Johnson of South Dakota, Johnson. Johnson of Texas, Jeffries. Jordan, Johnson. Joyce of Ohio, Johnson. Joyce of Pennsylvania, Johnson. Kim Lager-Dove, Jeffries. Captor, Jeffries. Kane, Johnson. Keating, Jeffries. Kelly of Illinois, Jeffries. Kelly of Mississippi, Johnson. Kelly of Pennsylvania. Johnson. Kennedy of New York. Jeffries. Kennedy of Utah. Johnson. Kana. Jeffries. Kiggins of Virginia. Johnson. Kiley of California. Johnson. Kim. Johnson. Knott. Johnson. Krishnamurthy. Jeffries. Kustoff. Johnson. LaHood. Johnson. LaLota. Johnson. LaMalfa. Johnson. Landsman. Jeffries. Langworthy. Johnson. Larson of Washington. Jeffries. Larson of Connecticut. Jeffries. Latimer. Jeffries. Latta. Johnson. Lawler.
The Honorable Mike Johnson.
Johnson. Lee of Florida. Johnson. Lee of Nevada. Jeffries. Lee of Pennsylvania. Jeffries. Ledger Fernandez. Jeffries. Letlow. Johnson. Levin. Jeffries. Liccardo. Jeffries. Liu. Jeffries. Lofgren. Jeffries. Loudermilk. Johnson. Lucas. Johnson. Luna. Johnson. Luttrell. Johnson. Lynch. Jeffries. Mace. Johnson. McKenzie. Johnson. Magaziner. Jeffries. Maliotakis. Johnson. Malloy. Johnson. Mann. Johnson. Mannion. Jeffries. Massey. Emmer. Mast. Johnson. Matsui. Jeffries. McBath. Jeffries. McBride. Jeffries. McCall. Johnson. McLean. Johnson. McLean Delaney. Jeffries. McClellan. Jeffries. McClintock. Johnson. McCullum. Jeffries. McCormick. Johnson. McDonald Rivet. Jeffries. McDowell. Johnson. McGarvey. Jeffries. McGovern. Jeffries. McGuire. Johnson. McIver. Jeffries. Meeks. Jeffries. Menendez. Jeffries. Mang. Jeffries. Messmer. Johnson. Muser. Johnson. Mfume. Jeffries. Miller of Illinois. Johnson. Miller of Ohio. Johnson. Miller of West Virginia. Johnson. Miller Meeks. Johnson. Mills. Johnson. Min. Jeffries. Molinar. Johnson. Moore of Alabama. Johnson. Moore of North Carolina. Johnson. Moore of Utah. Johnson. Moore of Wisconsin. Jeffries. Moore of West Virginia. Johnson. Moran. Johnson. Morelli. Jeffries. Morrison. Jeffries. Moskowitz. Moskowitz. Jeffries. Moulton. Jeffries. Mervan. Jeffries. Mullen. Jeffries. Murphy. Johnson. Nadler. Jeffries. Neal. Jeffries. Nagoose. Jeffries. Nails. Johnson. Newhouse. Johnson. Norcross. Jeffries. Norman. Jordan. None of Iowa. Johnson. Obernolte. Johnson. Ocasio-Cortez. Jeffries. Ogles. Johnson. Olszewski. Jeffries. Omar. Jeffries. Onder. Johnson. Owens. Johnson. Pallone. Jeffries. Palmer. Palmer. Johnson. Panetta. Jeffries. Pappas. Jeffries. Pelosi. Jeffries. Perez. Jeffries. Perry. Johnson. Peters. Jeffries. Pedersen. Jeffries. Pfluger. Johnson. Pingree. Jeffries. Pocan. Jeffries. Poe. Jeffries. Presley. Presley. Jeffries. Quigley. Jeffries. Ramirez. Jeffries. Randall. Jeffries. Raskin. Jeffries. Reschenthaler. Johnson. Riley of New York. Jeffries. Rivas. Jeffries. Rogers of Alabama. Johnson. Rogers of Kentucky. Johnson. Rose. Johnson. Ross. Jeffries. Rouser. Johnson. Roy. Roy. Ruiz. Jeffries. Ruley. Johnson. Rutherford. Johnson. Ryan. Jeffries. Salazar. Johnson. Salinas. Jeffries. Sanchez. Sanchez. Jeffries. Scalise. Johnson. Scanlon. Jeffries. Schakowsky. Jeffries. Schmidt. Johnson. Schneider. Jeffries. Skolton. Jeffries. Schreier. Jeffries. Schweikert. Johnson. Austin Scott. Johnson. David Scott. Jeffries. Scott of Virginia. Jeffries. Self. Donalds. Sessions. Johnson. Sewell. Jeffries. Sherman. Jeffries. Sherrill. Jeffries. Shreve. Johnson. Simon. Simon. Jeffries. Simpson. Simpson. Johnson. Smith of Missouri. Johnson. Smith of Nebraska. Johnson. Smith of New Jersey. Johnson. Smith of Washington. Jeffries. Smucker. Johnson. Sorensen. Jeffries. Soto. Jeffries. Sparts. Sparts. Johnson. Stansbury. Jeffries. Stanton. Jeffries. Stauber. Johnson. Stefanik. Johnson. Style. Johnson. Stubbe. Johnson. Stevens, Jeffries, Strickland, Jeffries, Strong, Johnson, Stutzman, Johnson, Subramaniam, Jeffries, Suazi, Jeffries, Swalwell, Jeffries, Sykes, Jeffries, Takano, Jeffries, Taylor, Johnson, Tenney, Johnson, Tanadar, Jeffries, Thompson of California, Jeffries, Thompson of Mississippi, Jeffries, Thompson of Pennsylvania, Johnson, Tiffany, Johnson, Timmons, Johnson, Titus, Jeffries, Talib, Jeffries, Takuda, Jeffries, Tonko, Jeffries, Torres of California, Jeffries, Torres of New York, Jeffries, Trahan, Jeffries, Tran, Jeffries, Turner of Ohio, Johnson, Turner of Texas, Jeffries, Underwood, Jeffries, Valadeo, Johnson, Van Drew, Johnson, Van Dyne, Johnson, Van Orden, Johnson, Vargas, Jeffries, Vasquez, Jeffries, VC, Jeffries, Velasquez, Jeffries, Vindman, Jeffries, Wagner, Johnson, Wahlberg, Johnson, Waltz, Wasserman Schultz, Jeffries, Waters, Jeffries, Watson Coleman, Jeffries, Weber of Texas, Johnson, Webster of Florida, Johnson, Westerman, Johnson, Whitesides, Jeffries, Weed, Johnson, Williams of Georgia, Jeffries, Williams of Texas, Johnson, Wilson of Florida, Jeffries, Wilson of South Carolina, Johnson, Whitman, Johnson, Womack, Johnson, Yackham, Johnson, Zinke, Johnson,
For what purpose does the gentlelady from the Virgin Islands seek recognition?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have a parliamentary inquiry. I note that the names of the representatives from the Americas, Samoa, Guam, Northern Mariana, Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, and the District of Columbia were not called, representing collectively 4 million Americans. Mr. Speaker, collectively the largest per capita of veterans in this country.
Does the gentlelady have a parliamentary inquiry?
I asked why they were not called.
The House is not in order.
Have some respect. It's not going to take that long.
Gentlelady is recognized.
I asked why they were not called from the parliamentarian, please.
Delegates-elect and the resident commissioner-elect are not qualified to vote. Representatives-elect are the only individuals qualified to vote in the election of a speaker. As provided in Section 36 of the House Rules and Manual, the speaker is elected by a majority of the members-elect voting by surname.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This body and this nation has a territories and a colonies problem. What
House will
was
be in order.
supposed to be temporary has
Gentlelady
now
will suspend.
effectively become permanent. We must do something about this
The
problem.
gentlelady is no longer
so that these-
recognized. The House will be in order. The reading clerk will now call the names of the representatives-elect who did not answer the first call of the roll.
First one I have is
Biggs of Arizona. Johnson. Carson. Jeffries. Cloud. Johnson. Clyde. Clyde. Gosar. Gosar. Harris of Maryland. Johnson. Roy. Johnson. Waltz. Johnson.
If there are any representatives-elect who did not answer the call of the roll, they may come to the well and vote at this time.
Just stand right there.
Just say Clyde.
Just say Clyde.
Clyde. Clyde. Gosar Johnson.
Is that who President Trump wants, Johnson?
He said President Trump wants Johnson. I had it recorded as Johnson.
Clyde Johnson.
House will be in order.
Mr. Norman is recorded as Jordan.
House will be in order.
Mr. Norman Johnson. Mr. Self is recorded as Donalds. Mr. Self Johnson.
The tellers agree in their tallies that the total number of votes cast is 434, of which the Honorable Mike Johnson of the state of Louisiana has received 218. The Honorable Hakeem Jeffries of the State of New York has received 215. And the Honorable Tom Emmer of the State of Minnesota has received 1. Therefore, the Honorable Mike Johnson of the State of Louisiana, having received a majority of the votes cast, is duly elected Speaker of the House of Representatives for the 119th Congress. The clerk appoints the following committee to escort the Speaker-elect to the chair. The gentleman from Louisiana, Mr. Scalise. The gentleman from New York, Mr. Jeffries. The gentleman from Minnesota, Mr. Emmer. The gentlewoman from Massachusetts, Ms. Clark. The gentlewoman from Michigan, Mrs. McLean. The gentleman from California, Mr. Aguilar. The gentleman from North Carolina, Mr. Hudson. The gentleman from California, Mr. Liu. The gentleman from Oklahoma, Mr. Hearn. The gentleman from Colorado, Mr. Neguse. The gentleman from Utah, Mr. Moore. The gentlewoman from Washington, Ms. Delbene. The gentlewoman from Indiana, Mrs. Houchin. The gentleman from New York, Mr. Morelli. The gentleman from Pennsylvania, Mr. Reschenthaler. The gentlewoman from Michigan, Mrs. Dingell. And the members of the Louisiana delegation, Mr. Higgins, Ms. Letlow, Mr. Carter, and Mr. Fields. The committee will retire from the chamber to escort the Speaker-elect to the chair.
Speaker-elect Mike Johnson from the state of Louisiana.
Ready? Speaker Johnson, Speaker Emerita Pelosi, it's great to see you back in the chamber. Whip Clark, Chairman Aguilar, thank you for your kind and generous words of nomination. To my colleagues in government, new members of Congress, families, friends, all those assembled. It's a high honor and a distinct privilege to welcome you to the People's House and the 119th Congress. The Bible teaches us in Ecclesiastes, the 3rd chapter, 1st verse, that for everything there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven. It's fair to say that in a democracy, there's a time to campaign and a time to govern. The election is over. This is a new Congress. The American people need us as their elected representatives
in this season to put down our partisan swords and pick up bipartisan plowshares. It's time for us to come together, not as Democrats or Republicans, but as Americans, to get things done for the people. In that spirit, House Democrats will work hard to find bipartisan common ground with our Republican colleagues and the incoming administration on any issue, whenever and wherever possible, in order to make life better for everyday Americans. For far too long in this country, the cost of living has gone up, but the size of the middle class has come down. Housing costs are too high. Grocery costs are too high. Childcare costs are too high. Insurance costs are too high. Utility costs are too high. America is too expensive. There are far too many people in this great country who for decades have been struggling to live paycheck to paycheck. That is not acceptable in the wealthiest country in the history of the world. We need to build an affordable economy for hard-working American taxpayers, and we need to build it now. It's time for us to come together and finally lower the high cost of living in the United States of America once and for all. And we will work with anyone of any party to get that done. We will work with anyone to secure our borders, and we will work with anyone to fix our broken immigration system in a comprehensive and bipartisan manner. At the same period of time, we will push back against far-right extremism whenever necessary. So let me be clear. Social Security and Medicare are not entitlement programs. They are earned benefits. Hard-working American taxpayers pay in to Social Security and Medicare every day, every week, every month, every year throughout their entire adult life. They've earned those benefits, worked hard for those benefits, and deserve those benefits. So as Democrats, our promise to the American people is that we will fight hard to make sure that no one in this town takes away Social Security or Medicare from the American people. Not now, not ever. No means never. Our position is that it is not acceptable to cut Social Security, cut Medicare, cut Medicaid, cut veterans' benefits, or cut nutritional assistance from children and families in order to pay for massive tax breaks for billionaires and wealthy corporations. House Democrats will fight hard to protect working class Americans and the things that matter to them, not the wealthy, the well-off, and the well-connected. Keep your hands off Social Security and Medicare. Over the last 4 years, it's been a great honor for us to work alongside President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris, whose administration rescued the economy from a once-in-a-century pandemic, delivered historic infrastructure investments, created more than 15 million good-paying jobs, enacted common sense gun safety legislation for the first time in 30 years, provided life-sustaining health insurance to veterans suffering from toxic exposure, championed the largest investment in combating the climate crisis in the history of the world, which we will defend, and brought down the high price of life-saving prescription drugs for millions of Americans. Thank you, President Biden and Vice President Harris, for your powerful, principled, and purposeful public service. Thank you. Two months ago, the American people elected Donald Trump as the 47th President of the United States of America. Thank you for that very generous applause. It's okay. There are no election deniers on our side of the aisle. You see, one should love America. One should love America when you win and when you lose. That's the patriotic thing to do, and that's the America that House Democrats will fight hard to preserve because we love this country. America is bigger than any one campaign, any one election, or any one individual. America, the land of the free and the home of the brave. Let us never forget that our country is free, not simply because we are strong. America is strong because we are free. That freedom is now under assault. There are some in this country who apparently believe that the freedom of economic opportunity that made them wealthy should not apply to everyone else. Our message to that crowd is simple. Democrats will never abandon the long walk toward freedom. We will fight hard to defend the freedom of opportunity that makes the American dream possible. We will fight hard for the freedom to vote and to fight for a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. We will fight for the freedom to organize and join a union of your choice. We will fight to defend the free enterprise system, but work hard to make sure that it actually works for working class Americans. And we will always defend a woman's freedom to make her own reproductive health care decisions. America promises one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That's the America House Democrats will fight hard to preserve. God bless you. God bless the House of Representatives. May God continue to bless the United States of America. It is now my responsibility to present the gavel to the gentleman from the great state of Louisiana, the son of a firefighter, a God-fearing man, a husband, and a loving father of four, the 56th Speaker of the United States House of Representatives, the Honorable Mike Johnson.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Leader Jeffries, all of our treasured colleagues here in the House. I'm grateful for this nomination. I'm grateful for this election, for the confidence this chamber has placed in me. It is the great honor of my life to serve this body with all of you. Of course, these are difficult days in our home state of Louisiana, where I come from. We all know about the terrorist attack in New Orleans, and it's really shaken our state. People are reeling from that attack. It took the lives of 14 innocent people, and it injured dozens more. And I wanted to begin appropriately today. If we could, I'd ask you all to join me in a moment of silence for the victims of this horrific act. Thank you. Thank you for that. I believe in giving honor where honor is due, and all of us do well to honor our spouses. My wife happens to be here this time. She didn't make it last time. It happened a little sudden. Kelly, would you stand up here in the gallery? Thank you. And we have our 4 children here, Hannah, Abby, Jack, and Will. We all stand up just really quickly. Come on. I wanted to do that. All of us recognize that there are no perks to being a congressman's kid, right? It's all sacrifice. And our spouses put up with so much, endless hours in travel and all the responsibilities upon us. And we're good to remind them how important they are to us and how we could not do the job without them. And so it's appropriate for all of us to do that. Thank you, guys. This is a momentous time in the nation of the history of our nation. It really is. And as members of the 119th Congress, we are stewards of the great American Revolution that began almost exactly now 250 years ago, 1775 and 1776. It will fall at the time of this Congress, the great anniversary. And in these 2.5 centuries, we've been reminded repeatedly that freedom is never free. And we have stood tall as the greatest nation on the face of the earth. It is without debate. We are the freest, the most powerful, most benevolent nation that has ever been in the history of the world. And it's not by happenstance. We are the ones who settled the West. We are the ones who ended slavery, who laid the transcontinental railroad, who gave women the right to vote, who won 2 world wars, who landed on the moon, and who won the Cold War. Throughout our history, we have done what no one thought was possible. And still, at 250 years old, our nation is actually a young nation. This past fall, I had opportunity to go to the G7 speakers meeting. It was held in Italy. It's the only international trip I took as speaker over the last 14 months because I didn't have time to do it, but it was a quick 3-day jaunt, and met with my colleagues, the speakers of the other parliaments, the great governments around the world. And we talked about that, how really special America is, how unique we are in our place on the globe, and how important it is for us to maintain that. And as I talked to these colleagues from around the world, I thought, our closest allies, who recognize how important we are, how important this body, this House is. I thought about how is it that such a young country has become so exceptional, so singular in its importance, that today stands as the world's leader in liberty and the economy and culture. 100 years ago, President Calvin Coolidge answered that very question in his inaugural address. It was March of 100 years ago, exactly almost. He said this: "We best serve our own country and most successfully discharge our obligations to humanity by continuing to be openly and candidly, intensely and scrupulously American." I love that. I love that. Today, yeah, that's right. That's an applause line. Today, my friends, our nation is the envy of the world. Why? Because we have been marked by a spirit and a people who are explicitly that. We are explicitly American. We don't try to be like other nations, and we recognize that a strong America is good for the entire world. And everybody around the globe knows that. That's right. We also recognize that the core principles that made America what we are must still be preserved today. The principles, I call them the 7 core principles of American conservatism, but it's really the 7 core principles of the nation itself. Individual freedom, limited government, the rule of law, peace through strength, fiscal responsibility, free markets, and human dignity. These are the ingredients, the things that made us who we are. And in America, we know that human flourishing is best achieved by adherence to time-tested truths. We could list a number of those simple truths. Here's a couple. It's better to give a hand up than a hand out. That innovation thrives when bureaucracy dies. The simple truth that it is parents and families and not administrators that must be in charge of their children's education. The path of prosperity has long been paved with policies that put America and Americans first. And that is what we will champion in the 119th Congress. We have a mandate, and that was shown in the election cycle. The people want an America First agenda. They do. Sadly, for the past 4 years of divided government, too many politicians in Washington have done the opposite. Open borders and overregulation have destroyed our cities and stifled innovation. Inflation and weak leadership have left Americans poorer, and they have placed our country in a perilous position. That's right. But in recent months, we've witnessed something happening, something that's really remarkable, a political moment in our modern history, a groundswell of Americans from every state, race, and religion who now demand that we put the interest of Americans first again, and we will, and we will. This is a powerful new coalition of our country. It's a coalition that insists that we purge the policies of America last and we bury them in the graveyard of history's mistakes, because it was a big mistake. To that end, this Congress will renounce the status quo and we will listen to the voices of the people. We will act quickly and we will start by defending our nation's borders. That's the #1 priority. Yes. In coordination with President Trump, this Congress will give our border and immigration enforcement agents the resources that they need to do their job. We will secure the border, we will deport dangerous, criminal, illegal aliens, and finally finish building the border wall. You said you'd work with us on that, Hakeem. I'm counting on it. After 4 years of high inflation, we have a big agenda. We have a lot to do, and we can do it in a bipartisan fashion. We can fight high inflation, and we must. We'll give relief to Americans, and we'll extend the Trump tax cuts. We're going to protect our industries from one-sided trade deals, and we're going to bring overseas investments back to America's shores. That's right. We'll defeat the harmful effects of inflation, and we'll make life affordable again for America's hardworking people. As leaders of a nation with vast natural resources that God has blessed us with, it is our duty to restore America's energy dominance, and that's what we'll do. We have to apply common sense. We have to stop the attacks on liquefied natural gas, pass legislation to eliminate the Green New Deal, that funding. We're going to expedite new drilling permits. We're going to save the jobs of our auto manufacturers, and we're going to do that by ending the ridiculous EV mandates. And as heirs to the American Revolution and the descendants of patriots who defied tyranny, in the coming months, we are going to pass legislation to roll back the totalitarian fourth branch of government known as the administrative state. We're going to drastically cut back the size and scope of government. We're going to return the power back to the people. And in coordination with President Trump and his administration, we are going to create a leaner, faster, and more efficient federal workforce. We need to do that. Our people do not deserve to be ruled by millions of bureaucrats they've never voted for, never met, and can never hold accountable. They deserve a government that is led by those they've elected to lead. That is how Article 1 is supposed to work. That was the idea of the Congress, and we will return to that principle. The American people have called on us to reject business as usual and throw out the status quo. We must and we will heed their call. This is especially important as it comes to our nation's military. For too long, the Washington establishment has sought to appease and accommodate our nation's adversaries. They've tried to replace our military warriors with social justice warriors. It does not work. And while we're still the most powerful fighting force in the history of the world, by God's grace, the same establishment has eroded the capacities of our Army and Navy and diminished the readiness of our Air Force. We have to put an end to this madness. My friends and my colleagues, I think we should all unite in this idea. It is time now to reinstate fear in our enemies, refocus our mission on lethality, and realign our commitment to peace through strength right now. We have to prioritize the things that matter most. We have to make adequate investments in defense. This is the most dangerous moment since World War II, and everyone around the world is looking to America and looking to this body to ensure that we maintain the peace. What we're proposing now is just simply, as President Trump likes to say, a return to common sense, and he's exactly right. That message resonated across the country. I am very thankful, personally, that this body is filled with men and women who are committed to that change, to return to common sense. We can do this together. We should. It is our responsibility to do so. When I first took this gavel, many of you heard me say that I don't believe in luck or consequence. I believe in the idea of providence. And this morning, I participated with many of you early this morning in the 119th Congress Interfaith Prayer Service. It was held at St. Peter's Catholic Church. Many of you were there. It was an ecumenical service in a bipartisan service, which was great. My good friend Hakeem Jeffries began by reading with the Old Testament. He read out of Deuteronomy 10. And then I was asked to provide a prayer for the nation. I offered one that is quite familiar to historians and probably many of us. It said right here in the program, it says right under my name, it is said each day of his 8 years of the presidency and every day thereafter until his death, President Thomas Jefferson recited this prayer. I wanted to share it with you here at the end of my remarks, not as a prayer per se right now, but as really as a reminder of what our third president and the primary author of the Declaration of Independence thought was so important that it should be a daily recitation. Let me just read you that prayer. It goes like this. Thomas Jefferson's Prayer for the Nation, it's entitled. Almighty God, who has given us this good land for our heritage, we humbly beseech thee, that we may always prove ourselves a people mindful of thy favor and glad to do thy will. Bless our land with honorable ministry, sound learning, and pure manners. Save us from violence, discord, and confusion, from pride and arrogance, and from every evil way. Defend our liberties and fashion into one united people the multitude brought hither out of many kindreds and tongues. Endow with thy spirit of wisdom those whom in thy name we entrust the authority of government, that there may be justice and peace at home, and that through obedience to thy law we may show forth thy praise among the nations of the earth. In time of prosperity, fill our hearts with thankfulness, and in the day of trouble, suffer not our trust in thee to fail, of which we ask through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. That was Thomas Jefferson's prayer. Yeah. Suffer not our trust in thee to fail. We will not fail. We cannot fail. We are all in this together. Our nation is counting on us to band together and solve these problems and get this done. I've said before that I believe God has elevated each one of you, that's just my belief, to your positions of leadership. And it's an act of providence that you've all been placed in your specific roles in this specific moment at this historic time, at the 250-year inflection point of the greatest nation in the history of the world. It is no small thing. We're also witnesses to the providence that spared our incoming president, President Trump, from the assassin's bullet, remarkable as that was, and to the new coalition of Americans that has risen from every creed, color, and cul-de-sac who want us to put America first. Our people are asking for a thriving economy and a rebuilt middle class and strong borders and a strong military, and we can deliver that. See, these objectives and these aims don't have an R or a D behind them. They have a USA. That's what we're about. In just a few moments, we're all going to take an oath. It is the same one oath for one nation and under the banner of one great American flag. This is an opportunity for us to protect our shared American heritage, to maintain the conditions needed for self-government, and to defend what Hakeem said earlier, the rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Working together, we have the potential to be one of the most consequential Congresses in the history of this great nation, so long as we work together, we do the right thing, and we put America first. As we think about all we've accomplished in the past 250 years, we can only imagine what life will be like 250 years from now. Whatever the future may look like, if we do our jobs now, we can help ensure that our civic virtues will endure, that this nation will still be an example to all the world for its greatness and its example of self-government, and that in spite of our great challenges and even our disagreements and our healthy debates, this extraordinary institution, the People's House, will still be standing strong. Thank you all so much, and God bless America. So as the sequence of events requires, I am now ready to take the oath of office. I ask the Dean of the House of Representatives, the Honorable Harold Rogers of Kentucky, to administer the oath.
Mr. Speaker, number one, congratulations on your election. When our founding fathers...
Hold just a second, Dean. We don't have the microphone on yet.
Hello, test. Today we celebrate our shared American self-rule. When our founding fathers rejected calls for an American king and chose a bold and innovative government of self-rule, it was met by opposition, understandably, by the world's kings. They said, "You can't govern yourself. You need a king to direct the country." They said, "It's only a dream, self-rule." The founding fathers said, "You're right. It's the American dream." And thus our founders said that we should move on our own with our own leadership. The Speaker of the House is the critical protector and promoter of self-rule, the keeper of the dream, if you will. And we've elected this man from Louisiana to carry on our bold experiment in democracy and self-rule. So, sir, if you're ready to assume this awesome responsibility, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that you will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that you will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that you take this obligation freely, that you take this obligation without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that you will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which you're about to enter. So help you God.
I do.
Congratulations, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. You may as well remain standing because according to precedent, the chair will swear in the members-elect en masse. The members-elect will all rise, and the chair will now administer the oath of office. Will you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that you will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that you take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that you will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which you are about to enter, so help you God. Congratulations, you are now members of the 119th Congress.